What's happening, YouTube? It's your homie S. Dot coming back to you with another video. And today's video is all about one thing. Game time. The homie Octone versus the boy Soundblaster. Oh yeah. Alright guys, so to our left we have the homie Mike Wads. Shout out to him and Mech, his new channel, revived from Sum Equals 41. He revamped it a couple of months ago. Mech stands for Make Every Car Hurt. So again, shout out to him and his channel. Definitely subscribe, and I will post a link to his channel down below. He's rocking Soundblaster, Mudflap, the new mercenary from Wave 4, and Flame War, good old Flame War. And Mudflap's a 8-star with he's a 5-12-1 in alt mode and a 4-12-2 in his bot mode. And his bounty effect is whenever he, kills a character, he will let you reveal the top card of your deck and you may play it. So it's like a field communicator. And his alt mode side is when you flip to this mode, you may plan one. So you can plan like a double black, to get, that solid, Pierce 2 or whatever. That's probably the only real use that he has for it in this deck. I think he does something cool with it throughout this match. I forget, but we'll see. So he starts his turn off with attacking with Mudflap, flipping Flame War, and attacking with Mudflap. And Mudflap actually has 5 attack in the mode that he starts in. So getting at Flame War for 3 total. And myself, I'm playing Hot Rod, Octone, and Flame War. Now I'm pretty much just took out Optimus Prime Battlefield Legend and added Octone to see how the deck will work out. Of course, the battle deck itself is going to be different, but just reminiscent of the 3-wide Prime deck back from Origins. And, just kind of see how this ends up meshing together. So I start my turn off with flipping Flame War and then attacking with Hot Rod, trying to get the camera right here. Yeah, Hot Rod, and I put a reflex circuits on Hot Rod, which will give him +1 defense, and if he blocks against a melee character, he'll get an additional defense. So that part of the effect won't do anything in this matchup because none of Wad's characters are melee. But so Soundblaster is actually going to go in before Flame War, and because he does have the RR Disruptive Blade in the scrap pile, when Soundblaster attacks, you're able to bring a black icon weapon back from your scrap pile. So he's attacking for 12 Pierce 2, looks like, or Pierce 1 with the Opportune Offensive into my my Hot Rod. So going in pretty heavy this turn. Very interesting that he chose to send in Soundblaster now, seeing as how my deck he doesn't know exactly what the contents of my deck are, but Flame War can potentially get in with an Opportune Offensive and get Pierce 3 in, and then of course Octone himself would definitely be able to get some solid damage in as well. And because Wads did flip a black icon card for his attack, our Disruptive Blade will not scrap itself. Otherwise, it would scrap if he did not flip a black card at the end of his attack. And speaking of Opportune Offensive, I do have Opportune Offensive. That is also a new action that is works with Mercenary. So because I have Octone in my deck, I did start with the Mercenary. I also activate Pocket Processor, very good card. Opportune Offensive, what it does is it gives +3 attack and Pierce 3 to a Decepticon as long as I started with the Mercenary. So even if Octone happened to die at some point throughout the battle, throughout the game, Flame War would still be able to use the Opportune Offensive. One flaw I do see with my deck already, though, as I was playing, it's like I put my deck together and some things I didn't think about till I actually went to go play. And that's, once Flame War dies, Opportune Offensives are all dead. So potentially Hot Rod's going to have to actually be another Decepticon. Yes, Raider Sights was an option with a star card, a Bolt of Lightning or something. But again, this was just my first preliminary build. I usually end up having like 5 versions of a deck before I finally get it right. So Wad's going to use his turn to flip Soundblaster. He has 1 more defense in that mode, which is nice. And he's going to pass the RR Disruptive Blade over to Flame War, which is pretty solid. And then on the next turn, or the next cycle, when Soundblaster attacks again, he can retrieve another RR Disruptive Blade from his scrap pile. So Soundblaster is actually pretty good. So we got Flame War attacking into my Flame War. I'm going to take a bit of damage, and his RR Disruptive Blade will scrap itself because he did not flip a black icon card on his attack. And he also set a secret action, by the way, so let's make sure we beware of that. First thing that comes to my mind is Sabotage Armaments, or potentially Hidden Fortification when I'm playing against a blue deck. So that's what I expect him to have. I do have Octone in his, a turn or so ago I did flip Octone. And by the way, my Octone looks like it's tapped, but it's not. Wads has a one of those sleeves. It's actually a sleeve that you can, it's a card protector where it actually still allows you to flip your triple changers. So shout out to Wads for hooking me up one of those this Sunday when I see him. We also have a Seal Tournament this week too coming up, so definitely be looking forward to that. There's also one over at Top Deck Games, so shout out to Top Deck Games over in Haddon, New Jersey. But I won't be able to make that one. And plus, there's one over here. So I won't be able to travel, rather. I need to stay closer to home this weekend. But, yeah, so I did flip Octone a turn or so ago to deal 1 damage to either Flame War or Soundblaster. Octone has 2 alt modes, and in one of his alt modes, your opponent chooses one of their Decepticons and deals 1 damage to it. And then Octone is able to gain 3 attack when attacking the Decepticon. And then the same as well for when he's battling against a Autobot. Flip to that mode, they choose one of their Autobots to deal 1 to. Now, of course, that effect's not as good against Battle Masters, but 1 damage is 1 damage, and depending on the state of the game, it can definitely be relevant. Late game, anyway. And this burn is burn, because like the majority of this deck is all about like direct damage and the big attack with Octone. So I decided to play Arm Hovercraft, but I'm actually going to choose to put it on Hot Rod and deal the 1 across to all of his characters. And I'm going to also play Dual Wield because I'm expecting Sabotage Armaments. I'm programming my brain to just assume that that's a Sabotage Armament set, and that card of course is very good against a card like Dual Wield. If you set your character up with 2 RR Disruptive Blades or RR Disruptive Blade in a whatever, even Sturdy Javelin, both of those will get scrapped and you get blown out by a Sabotage Armament. So be careful of that, not to load up your character too much when your opponent does have a secret action set, especially if you looked at their scrap pile and you see that they did have a Sabotage Armament. Okay, so lo and behold, it actually is just a Battlefield Report. So interesting that he's playing Battlefield Report, and I think he might be playing Hidden Fortification as well. So Battlefield Report is still good as a 1, maybe potentially 2 of, to just unbrick your hand, because sometimes you'll have like handheld blasters and things in your hand, and if you don't have any greens to trade for those cards, it's nice to draw 2 cards and then stack a double blue or whatever on top of your deck to dig for 2 cards and dig for some answers to your opponent's cards. So I get a decent bit of damage, and we all stand up. And I have a Pocket Processor online. If Wads is playing Smelt's very weak at this point because I'll just easily get rid of a Arm Hovercraft. Smelt's good at certain times. I think it's really good early game, depending on what they play like, because I think if your opponent has Pocket Processor, a lot of times they're going to want to play that ASAP. And if they do, if I can find a Smelt early, Smelt's really good then. And Smelt's usually good late game when it's just one-on-one with their characters, and depending on what upgrades they have, they might have their most important upgrades out. So Smelt has more value in the, like I said, the early and the late game. And sometimes mid game. It just depends on the game state. And if your opponent's playing cards like, Field Communicator or Arm Hovercraft or Bashing Shield, whatever. So Mudflap's going to flip, and he has 1 more defense in this mode, actually, which is kind of cool. So he has 7. He's a 7 Pierce 2. Make that 11 Pierce 2. So Dual Wield gives any character an extra weapon slot until the end of the turn. If it happens to be a mercenary, you can bring that weapon onto that character, which he does. He's targeting him. So Mudflap's going to come in kind of big for 11 on my Flame War and get rid of my Flame War with that attack. So pretty big attack. And then Mudflap's bounty effect comes into play, and he flips a Crowbar off the top of his deck. Crowbar is also a new upgrade weapon. It has a double black icon. It's a weapon, obviously, and gives +2 attack, and that's it. So it's just that double black that if you have it, it's just a +2 weapon. If you flip it off the top of your deck, it's that Pierce 2 to get some damage in no matter what. So killing my Flame War there kind of sucked, for me, and let's see how I end up working this, because I think I have a good bit of work to do. I think his can't really see his dice, but I think Soundblaster has a decent bit of health on it, or damage on it rather. Do need to try to get rid of this Mudflap pretty soon. I'm going to Marksmanship and shoot the Flame War. Okay, I actually forget to draw for Pocket Processor. Warning you now, I forget to draw for Pocket Processor like I don't know how many times this match. Something I got to get used to. Won't take me too long, I hope, to not forget to draw the extra card off Pocket Processor. Like 2 or 3 more times I end up forgetting. I get so focused in the match, and it kind of honestly excited with all these new cards that I just forget. Same with that Triptychon play out, my boy Brian. He activated 2 actions in 1 turn, but it's all good. We'll get it right. So I got a Sturdy Javelin, throwing a Sturdy Javelin at Flame War. Flame War actually had 8 damage on it, so I stole an attack from the Flame War, throwing a Javelin at her, KOing her, and getting in that Mudflap. And what this ends up doing is forcing his Soundblaster to have to attack now, which means my Octone can attack the Soundblaster again, which actually changes the pace of the game, thanks to Sturdy Javelin. So he's going to trade Sparring Gear for Sturdy Armor, and that card is actually very good against my deck because I do have ranged characters, and he will get the +1 defense additional when he's defending. He's going to play Steady Shot for his turn. So good. Add that RR Disruptive Blade from his scrap pile and attack into my Hot Rod. Hot Rod's going to defend for 5. but he's attacking me for, I think, enough to still KO me. I think I still end up taking 5, and Hot Rod's going to die, unfortunately. Yeah. Another reason why I wanted to play Hot Rod is because, I mean, though, of course, in a 3-wide Prime deck, the flipping him for that random 1 damage at a point was good. But especially in this deck as well, I figured it was good as well because, you know, this deck is all about direct damage. You know, within Octone's effect, all the cards I play, you know, to just direct damage everywhere. But if I continue to play Hot Rod, I want to potentially try to play Opportune Repairs, the other one, because Hot Rod's survivability is very high, and if he takes any damage, playing Opportune Repairs to heal him for 3 will actually be very valuable. So another avenue I want to potentially take, but starting your deck off with 3 dual wield and 3 contract contingency already hurts a lot, especially for you on defense. So it's something I gotta really think about. So I'm gonna play a Drill Arms for my turn, and I'm taking the one Drill Arms because. And okay, that was a really cool play. So I played Drill Arms to kill his armor, which freed up the Smelt to get rid of whatever it wanted to. So got the Smelt, got rid of the Energon Axe, and of course the Drill Arms got rid of the Sturdy Armor. And I'm getting in on Soundblaster again for some pretty hefty damage. And looking at, if you look at the board state, Wad's characters have a whole bunch of damage on them from all the direct damage my cards have had. And did I forget to draw for Pocket Processor? I probably did. Whatever. But yeah, my Octone is standing tall with no damage on it. So I don't honestly care how big his attack is this turn. It's not gonna get insane. Like the most he can probably do with Soundblaster is 12 with a RR Disruptor Blade and a Leap into Battle, because he did that like early game. But I'm sitting pretty nice here. So, but yeah, so what I was getting at with the Hot Rod, like I said, Opportune Repairs is a card I potentially want to tech, but it's still off color in terms of not helping on defense, but it is orange black, so it does help like keep the RR Disruptor Blade alive. So we'll have to see. Speaking of RR Disruptor Blade, we're going to flip Mudflap, so he's stronger in the mode he's going to attack in now, his alt mode. Attacking with 8 attack into Octone. I block for 4, and he hits me for 8 Pierce 1, looks like. So I'm going to take the 4, choose not to get any green, draw for my turn, not draw for Pocket Processor. I do remember here again, though. Luckily, this is just a... because, you know, in a tournament, you know, I would respect my opponent and wouldn't even be mad if my opponent wouldn't let me draw for the Pocket Processor. There's no phases in this game like there is in Yu-Gi-Oh! Like in Yu-Gi-Oh! There's a draw phase, standby phase, main phase 1. But yeah, I'll shake it. I'll shake it by the time the invitational comes. You know, once I get in the zone and I get in that atmosphere, you know, it's game time. So, and again, these are all new cards and just new things going on, and just kind of so exciting. Still, like, just, you know, finally happy Wave 4 came out. Shout out to WOTC for this wave. Definitely probably one of our most powerful sets yet, if not the most powerful since Wave 1. So we got Octone attacking with 7 attack into the Mudflap. Now I had him in bot mode, even though I know he's not going to kill the Mudflap. I flipped him to bot mode because he'll actually have better attack stats in that mode. If I kept him in one of his alt modes, he wouldn't get the additional +3 since Mudflap is also a mercenary. So Octone will have 7 attack here, getting some decent damage in on Mudflap. And next turn, Soundblaster does get an attack on me, but on my next turn, I'll be able to flip Octone back to his alt mode 2, the Decepticon side, and deal another free 1 damage to Soundblaster. So right now, this 1 damage from Octone is really good. It's going to put a lot of pressure on that Octone, or excuse me, on his Soundblaster. So Pep Talk for his action, and then he's going to play Sparring Gear for his upgrade, so he's going to have some decent defense. And then load right back up. Oh, actually, what ended up happening is he, I forgot exactly what he did. I think, he shouldn't have played the Pep Talk. As simple as that. He actually should have just attacked and saved the Pep Talk for the next turn, because him playing Pep Talk made his deck reshuffle, which means he doesn't have RR Disruptor Blade in the scrap pile anymore. So it's not going to make too much of a difference because I only have 4 damage on me, but at the same time, that's just something to think about for the next time. So I know Wad's kind of, you know, shooting himself for that a little bit, and I didn't even realize it until he did it, but it's definitely something to think about. So Wad's going to attack in his alt mode and give him 1 more defense, seeing as how he knows Octone is probably going to attack the Soundblaster next turn. So he wanted to give him that 1 more defense plus the Sparring Gear. And if he would have kept him in bot mode, he would have only dealt 1 more damage. So it wasn't worth it. So flipping Soundblaster to that mode definitely was the right play. Being that he, you know, played the Pep Talk and shuffled the scrap pile. That was the next step in you know, what's the best play. So I draw for my turn. I don't know if I draw for Pocket Processor. Leave me alone at this point. Leave me alone. Okay, so we're going to flip Octone back. Like I said, we're going to flip him to alt mode 2 to deal 1 damage to the Soundblaster. Mudflap is a mercenary, so Octone will not affect it, but that's fine. That just like kind of lets me put the damage where I want it to go in the first place, so that's perfect. Look like I got an arm hovercraft, a sturdy javelin, and a Energon axe in hand. So I got 3 different weapons to choose from to potentially do some cool stuff. So let's see what ends up happening here. So we're gonna play Energon axe on Octone. So now Octone is at 8. He's at 8 Pierce 2, but he'll be an 11 Pierce 2 going into Soundblaster. And looking at Soundblaster's health, I want to say Soundblaster doesn't have as much health left, so I should still be able to KO it. I'm confident I'll be able to KO it. No action this turn for me, but probably didn't need it. Yep, looks like there's going to be enough to get the KO. Going to trade the useless Opportune Offensive now for a Reflex Circuits. And I take that back. Reflex Circuits isn't totally dead in this matchup. I think Mudflap is melee in one of his modes, and I could be totally wrong. Never mind. But I won't need it, but if he happens to get rid of my sparring gear for whatever reason, or if he plays Smelt, I know I can get rid of the sparring gear, and then because I have another armor, I'll just play that. Sets a secret action. I do not remember if I want to say I think there was one point if I asked Wads if he flipped a black icon card for our Disruptor Blade. I trust that he did. Like I said, I think the one turn was maybe it was next game. I don't remember. But it's gonna get in right there for 8 Pierce 2, and to put Octone up to 9. So Octone is still sitting decent. Draw for turn and draw Opportune Offensive. I think this I'm complaining here because of like always draw Handheld Blaster or like some I don't know. It's just like a lot of turns in my games that is draw like a card I don't want. But I'm pretty sure that happens to everybody. I just wanted to complain. And lo and behold, guess what? I forget to flip for pocket. Excuse me. I forget to draw for. Oh, there it is. I draw for the pocket processor now. I'll get it right one day. So before you game state correctors come to the game, realize I know. It's okay. We'll get it right. It's okay. One day. Okay, so Octone is going to... looks like he's attacking with 9 Pierce 2. That is not a secret action set. That's just my card cover to cover over my Octone. And Octone's best in this mode because the other 2 modes he will not gain any +3 advantage because Mudflap, of course, again, is a mercenary. Okay, so a little undecided there, but I think what ends up happening, yeah, okay, I actually end up flipping the Hot Rod, and I think the Mudflap had 3 damage left that I needed to get. So the 1 damage that I get from the Hot Rod and then the Pierce 2 from the Energon Axe will seal the deal for game 1. All right, everybody, so jumping into game 2, I think Wise chose to start again, so we'll see how this game ends up going. Gonna flip Flame War again, attack with Mudflap. 5-12-1 in that mode, attacking into Flame War most likely. Flame War is only going to take 1 this time, block for 4, so a decent block. Well, a very good block, a decent block, being modest. I like Flame War on my left. Right hand man, Hot Rod on my right. The usual flip Flame War. Arm Hovercraft, always a great first turn play to open the game with. Hovercraft dealing 1 damage to each of his characters. Wad's total health pool looks like 10, 12, and 16, so that's 38 health. So effectively putting him at 35 health if you kind of want to look at the total character health pool. So from 38 down to 35 without battle is pretty good. And then actually got some damage on the Mudflap as well through via attack. Got another Arm Hovercraft in the scrap house, so if I do have dual wield, being able to grab that back and deal some more burn damage would be nice. So Waz is able to activate an action and upgrade this turn. He's going to play Opportune Offensive, which is the new bigger they are. He's going to have 4 Pierce 4 actually, which is nice. He flipped the orange from his sparring gear and then another Opportune Offensive, which was pretty nice. So 4 Pierce 4, so it pretty much literally was the bigger they are on my Hot Rod this turn. So Hot Rod's tough, really doesn't do much in this matchup. Seeing as he still got that solid 4 damage in, and then also was able to trade for that sparring gear as well, trading a security checkpoint. So sitting pretty nice here. And right out the gate, we got Octone flipping to his alt mode 2, which again is the Decepticon side. He gets to choose 1 character to deal 1/2. Looks like he chose, I can't tell who he chose. I think it was probably Flame War most likely. So it looks like Flame War is definitely going to go in next. Let's see what I have to load her up. Maybe an opportune offensive of my own. Flip Octone back to prepare for the next turn to flip him back again to his alt mode 2 to deal, for him to choose one of his Decepticons to deal 1 damage to. Play Pocket Processor on Flame War. Don't know why I put that on. I think actually I take that back. There's a reason why I put it on her, and we'll see that here in a little bit. So no action for me this turn, unfortunately. So I end up just attacking with Flame War, and also no black icons flipped off for my attack. So whatever Wads defends with probably be defended pretty well here, which it was. So pass back turn to Wads again. Smelt's not that good right here. So just in hindsight, like I kind of like do it without really even thinking about it, but if you have both cards like Hovercraft or like Field Communicator, Pocket Processor in hand, depending on if you're playing against a blue deck, it might be valuable to just play that Field Communicator or that, Arm Hovercraft or whatever first, and that essentially protects your Pocket Processor from Smelt. Smelt's a little better than Vaporize. It's an argument that's up for debate, but Smelt, is able to, it's a green icon, but then your opponent gets to choose. And then Vaporize, of course, and get at anything, but you have to draw it. So, and same play from last game. He's gonna go Soundblaster, retrieve a RR Disruptive Blade from his scrap pile, and also play Leap into Battle, coming in at 12 attack onto my Flame War. Flame War is gonna take a decent bit of damage and almost actually KO it. So I flipped enough blue to survive. Any burn spell though will kill it. I don't know if he's playing Arm Hovercraft. You know what? Take that back. I think he is playing a couple Arm Hovercraft. So if he does have Arm Hovercraft soon, that Pocket Processor on Flame War wasn't that good, unfortunately. So Pocket Processor is probably best on either Hot Rod or Octone, especially because Octone should be a last character. But there it is. The reason why I didn't play Pocket Processor is because I actually had Conversion Engine. So Conversion Engine is also a new card from Wave 4. It's a utility white icon that gives +1 attack, and at the end of your turn you can flip a one of your bots put only on characters with 3 modes first of all, and then at the end of your turn you're able to flip it to one of its other modes. So like if your opponent had a Autobot and a Decepticon, contract contingency, Conversion Engine would continuously flip-flop Octone from each mode to, continuously deal 1 burn damage at the end of every turn. So it sounded valuable. I think it helped a lot in this matchup because, as you can see, what I ended up doing was flipping Octone back to alt mode 1. So on my next turn, I'll be able to flip him back again to alt mode and just keep repeating that process until Wads gets rid of the Conversion Engine. So it's just a free, guaranteed damage every turn. So I expect full and well for my Flame War to die this turn. Wads has an action and upgrade to play. So dual wield, which is strong here to get Arm Hovercraft. So that's going to kill the Flame War, so he doesn't have to even send an attack into it, which is nice. So he can actually attack into my Octone or Hot Rod and get some solid damage in if he flips some black icons, or if he just gets enough attack in general. So action and upgrade. He actually ends up playing Handheld Blaster. Now Handheld Blaster actually has relevance now. It's so funny because if he flips the more blacks he flips, the more valuable his attacks get. So it's actually valuable to potentially equip Handheld Blaster now. I don't know if he played it from hand. It's not like he dual wielded the Handheld Blaster from the scrap pile, but Handheld Blaster's Bold 1 actually has some use here. So it gets a decent bit of damage on my Hot Rod. So it puts my Hot Rod in danger. If I do flip Hot Rod on my next, if I do attack with Hot Rod next turn, there's a high potential for him to be KO'd. So I got my work cut out for me here. See what ends up happening. I think that Flame War also has about, I want to say 8 damage on it again. Ponder in my next move. I also do have the Octone flip. So I trade the Arm Hovercraft, looks like, for something. Sturdy Javelin. So Javelin is going to be really good again. If I think correctly, if I look correctly, I think that Flame War has 8 damage on it. So same play from game 1. Hot Rod being able to deal 2 to the Flame War and steal an attack, forcing the Sound Blaster to have to attack Hot Rod, which means Octone can attack Sound Blaster, is going to be really good. So, yep, Sturdy Javelin's going to kill the Flame War, which is pretty huge there. It kind of turns the game a little bit. And, whoa, pretty big attack. What is that? That's 4 Pierce 4. I flipped 5 black icons on that attack. 2 Contract Contingencies and 1 RR Disruptive Blade. So, get a solid whole 4 damage on that attack, and that was pretty strong. So this turn, I actually decide not to flip Octone. I actually just let the conversion engine flip it, which makes me think, why did I do that? I don't know. I don't know exactly why I ended up doing that like that this turn, but I guess it's pretty much the same thing no matter which mode I flip, and then engine makes it flip to the other mode. So I was going to flip Mudflap for the turn to its bot mode where he's stronger in 2 defense. I'm going to have Soundblaster retrieve a RR Disruptor Blade and attack my Hot Rod, most likely killing it. I got 9 Pierce 2. The Pierce 2 was enough to kill my Hot Rod, so even if I flipped for 10, 20, it didn't matter. He was going to go. Trade a Handheld Blaster for Smelt. Smelt's not that good right here, right now, but I think if I can kill Mudflap, Smelt will get a lot more value because it'll be isolated to Wads' RR Disruptor Blade or Sparring Gear. But then at the same time, now that I think about it out loud, when I say that out loud, he'll just get rid of RR Disruptor Blade and then attack and grab it back again. Or he could grab back Crowbar. So I played nothing for my turn. Oh, never mind. I thought I was attacking. I'm flipping Octone to his bot mode. And it looks like I have an Energon Axe and a Smelt, 2 cards I can see right now. So Energon Axe seems very valuable this turn. I like that. I can't talk. I like that conversion engine gives that +1 attack. So Octone will be sitting at a solid 10 attack with the Pierce 2. 10, Pierce 2. That Pierce 2 actually is relevant, despite having a high number and being Pierce 2. With so many defensive cards now, like Sturdy or Hidden Fortification and things, you know, I've seen bots get to like 9 and 10 defense. So that Pierce 2 actually comes into play now. So we got 9 Pierce 3 attacking. I don't know. We'll see here in a second. Pierce 3 because Opportune Offensive was flipped. Okay, so I do attack Mudflap. Tried to kill the Mudflap that turn. If I did kill the Mudflap, I would have been able to deal 1 damage to I would have been able to deal 2 damage with the bounty effect to Sound Blaster. At the end of my turn, I use Conversion Engine to flip Octone back to his Alt Mode 2 to deal 1 more damage to Sound Blaster. So just really getting that Sound Blaster for a lot of damage, a lot of direct damage rather. The direct damage in Pierce makes him very solid against blue decks. I also need to test this deck against Bugs, which I am honestly super confident that it just beats Bugs with no problem because of all the direct damage. Like, there's really no finding direct damage. It's kind of hard to not get direct damage with this deck. Opportune Offensive, which is a lot stronger in his deck because Sound Blaster usually is his last character. He gets +3 attack and the Pierce 3 here. So he's at 12 Pierce 3 minimum attacking into my Octone. So I'm going to take a decent bit of damage. I have 5 defense. So I'm going to take 7, looks like. Puts me at 8 health. 8 damage, rather. Yep. So I have to attack Sound Blaster this turn. Looking at there's only 1 dice, a 6-sided dice on that Sound Blaster. I can't tell exactly what it is, but I at least do know that that's not double digits, so that's not going to be anywhere close to killing the Sound Blaster this turn. But I do need to be careful. So I have 9 damage. I have 9 health left. And I need to potentially armor up this turn to watch out for that Mudflap. So I'm going to play Pep Talk. I don't have anything else better to play for this turn, but that's a nice setup card to be able to trade one of those extra cards for greens. Or if I do, you know, to play search for an armor if I didn't have one. So hopefully I have an armor to load up with this turn. Okay, look, Sparring Gear. It looks like I do have. So I play the Sparring Gear. I flip Hot Rod to deal 1 damage to Mudflap. No, to Sound Blaster. Okay. And Octone's going to go in on Sound Blaster. He's stronger in this mode, being able to get that extra 3 attack from attacking a Decepticon. So it's going to be at 8, 11 Pierce 4. 11 Pierce 4 because I flipped a Contract Contingency. Or no, is that RR Disruptor Blade? That's R, excuse me, Pierce 3. 11 Pierce 3. Blocking for 4. So it's going to take 7. That's a pretty good chunk of damage. And then I'm going to use Conversion Engine to flip Octone back. Actually, I'm going to use Conversion Engine to flip Octone to... Oh, okay, undecided here. Now I'm just being goofy. One Shot Stand is my placeholder for my transforming. Okay, so yeah. I'm going to flip back to All Mode 1, the Autobot side. Doesn't do anything here, but it's going to set me up for the next turn to flip and do 1 more burn damage once again to Sound Blaster. Okay, so he has a powerful weapon actually to replace that armed hovercraft, or yeah, that armed hovercraft with. So he's coming in at 7 Pierce 2 minimum. coming at Octone. So hopefully I flip a decent defense here, which looks like I do. But his, wow, his, I don't even, what is that, 7 Pierce 5? So he's getting it for 5 no matter what. So that's going to put my Octone at 13. Pretty strong attack. Pretty strong attack. And a flip like that is actually going to put me in danger mode, because if I can't kill both bots on this next turn, I actually probably am going to end up taking an L this game. We're going to move to game 3. So let's see what happens. I'm going to trade Handheld Blaster for Reflex Circuits. Draw for turn. There's no pocket processors. There's no pocket processor to forget this game, so I'll be all right. One thing I know I can definitely do, the reflex, the muscle reflex, is just to flip Octone back to alt mode 2 to deal 1 damage to Soundblaster. I think the Mudflap has 10 damage counters on it left, or 10 damage counters on it, which means he has 2 health left, and Soundblaster has 16 on him, or 12 on him, excuse me, with 4 health left. So looking at the math right now, Octone can easily kill the Mudflap with the Pierce 2 from the Energon Axe, but then I still have to deal with Soundblaster. And the fact that, as you can see, Soundblaster has that RR Disruptor Blade sitting right on top of his deck. So I actually decided to flip to bot mode. And, oh, you know what? Okay, yeah. How can I forget about this really cool move that's about to happen, guys? Check this out. I told him I was sorry before I did the move, by the way. We're still cool, Wads. So I played Dual Wield on Sturdy Javelin, a card we haven't actually seen all match. But what's going to end up happening is I'm explaining it to him and he doesn't see the play yet, but I play the play out. So what ends up happening is I attack with Octone into Mudflap, which is going to, and I throw the Javelin at Soundblaster, putting in Soundblaster at 14. And then with 10 Pierce 2, I'm going to kill Mudflap, and then the bounty from Octone is going to kill the Soundblaster and getting that 2-for-1 kill. Insane. Octone is insane. Good games, Wads. Talk about a wild ending to an intense game. Again, once again, salute to you, Waz. Shout out to you and the channel Mech. I will be leaving a link for his channel down in the description below. So make sure you check that out. Subscribe to this channel. Show some love. Appreciate the games. We played a couple more games actually as well, which I'll be premiering next week. I got an interesting Shockwave deck that you guys are going to want to check out. We got a game with me playing, I think he's playing a couple of interesting decks, like one deck that's all white with like Mirage, and I think it was a deck from like Jank Labs or something like that. You'll have to have him explain it to you. I don't know if there's a deck profile for it, but yeah, we got some cool decks to definitely show you guys. So definitely be looking out for that. And with that, if you guys don't want to miss those videos, and which would be very appreciated to me, if you guys would subscribe to the channel and like this video if you like the content, and there's more where this came from. There'll be a whole bunch more of this content coming. I got some more sealed videos coming, some things to talk about like the meta, where I think it's gonna go, my personal opinion, and you know, just we'll see what happens. Those some fun games, and like I said, I can't wait to do commentary over the other ones. Speaking of commentary, I'm doing commentary because you know, these are all new cards, so I kind of want to explain it as I go along. And of course, you guys know commentary is my #1 favorite thing to do, you know, in this in the game while I'm, you know, on my channel. And shout out to WTC again for letting me and Powered by Primus, Jamie from Powered by Primus, do that commentary for the top 4 in the finals at Gen Con. That was really cool to do, again, because, you know, that's one of my favorite things to do, if not my definite favorite thing to do in this community, for the community, for you guys. So again, I appreciate you guys. You guys know what it is. This is S.DevTF. And now you guys have a great day and a great night whenever you're catching this video. Peace.